Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner, with another episode of VSW. Welcome, everybody. This is a very special edition of VSW. We have a very big announcement. If you thought what the Saberwolf had to say about Boston sports was big, this is a even bigger bulletin. And like I said, here, we don't get a lot of exclusive news, big news, or breaking stories, but tonight this is one of those times that we actually do. This is big. I'm going to hand it over to the man that has the news, okay? Here we go.
What is up, everybody? The newest addition to the VSW podcast, the Yoga Demon. New characters. It's going to be wild. Now there's 3 of us. 3 people. The content's going to be off the roof. I got a lot to offer to you guys. You might have heard of me from the other episodes. I was a moderator. I really enjoyed it. I was from a previous podcast, but I love the VSW so much that I'm jumping ship. I'm going to be invested into this as far as the podcast goes. A little background about me. By education, I have a degree in IT business intelligence. I'm a huge fan of the WWE. I'm a big fan of yoga. I'm very into fitness and all that good stuff. And passing it back to the Versace Stoner.
Yeah, we picked somebody healthy and smart. Good choice, great candidate. We are very happy to have you on board, Yoga Demon. We love it. I've seen your yoga pose. I've seen what you can do. Some of that shit is demonic. That scorpion pose, my fucking God. Talk about break your back and make you humble. That shit looks painful, and you do it, for fun. We're very excited to have you on board. Like I said, though, a lot of great content that you can bring to us. You're pretty good at, that Smash game that people play on the Nintendo. You can bring the gaming scene to us. Like you said, the other night we talked a little bit about bringing pop culture. You're like me, a horror buff. Is that right?
Very true. Absolutely. Looking forward to the Conjuring 3.
Exactly, so that will be another great thing for us to, be able to touch on in our podcast is the horror scene. I'm a big horror buff. I don't know if I really mentioned that on my podcast, but, I love the horror movies. There's a lot of stuff that we missed out in 2020. So it'd be great to have somebody, alongside of me to kind of share these, movies and other great movies, too, that are coming out, like Mortal Kombat and all these other, Marvel movies and things. It would be great to have you on board with us. We'll be on it, and, we can even do some tonight. You can ask me some questions. I'll ask you even some questions. Let them get to know you. We have a great fan base. We have a lot of great listeners. We cover the indie scenes, WWE, AEW. We got the Saberwolf now covering sports. We're going to have you covering WWE as well, with, alongside with the video games and, all the pop culture that goes along with that.
I feel like, too, we can overall just cover life stuff, just life lessons, philosophical stuff. I mean,
exactly.
We both had a lot of.
The only thing I really don't get into on my podcast is politics and all of that. But I'm all for the healthy lifestyle. Yoga, all of that. That's great. I really push that. I think that's great. Like I said, a healthy lifestyle, healthy body, a healthy mind, healthy soul. That's the way to go right now in the world.
Absolutely. We're definitely in that self-care era of all things.
Now, speaking of self-care, don't you have some care products that you kind of sell, on the side? Legitimately,
yes.
though. Legitimately, legally,
Absolutely.
Obviously.
I run an e-commerce business on the side. I sell a lot of skincare and vitamin products.
And tell us a little bit about that, huh?
So, with those products, they're manufactured by Amway. They're a very legitimate company. Very organic stuff. It's legit. They've been around for a long time. Believe it or not, a lot of companies actually copy the Amway business model Amway is partnered with a lot of big names: Nike, Apple, Bank of America. The list goes on. The whole Amway business is booming right now just because they sell those fast-moving consumable goods. People are always going to need their deodorant, their shampoo, their vitamins, especially the vitamins. Nobody's ever going to entirely give up hamburgers and pizza, so they got to supplement their healthy lifestyle somehow. Even skincare products. I mean, you buy some skincare, you use it, and then you purchase another one. Skincare is not a one-time purchase like a house or a car.
Now, let me ask you something, because, I mean, I'm a consumer. I buy things. I try new products. I do healthcare things, I always am in Whole Foods and stuff, places like that, getting, different things for my body and stuff. Let me ask you, how's the quality of it? Be honest. Is the quality on par with, the price? Is it something that's worth investing in? Is it, a good quality product that you use over and over again? Or is it just something that's like, cheaply manufactured just for the masses?
In my honest opinion, I can say that Whole Foods is legit. You do get the biggest bang for your buck.
You do, but I'm talking not about Whole Foods. I'm saying with the Amway product that you sell. Would you say that, it's a quality product that is, being distributed, or is it just something for the masses?
It's definitely quality products, absolutely. I like to use this comparison. People are willing to spend thousands of dollars on an iPhone because they like the quality of the phone. So with these products, these fast-moving consumable goods, the shampoo, the skincare, the vitamins, it's definitely the biggest bang for your buck. Doesn't cost an arm and a leg. It's a couple dollars more, but it's worth the investment. Your health these days means pretty much everything to you.
Oh, definitely. And these days, health does mean everything. If you don't have your health, you really don't have much. So that's great. And where can they find these products? How can they get them from you? Where can they, can people obtain these, just normal everyday people or our listeners? How can they obtain these products from you?
So to find the products, you have to purchase the products through an independent business owner. I am a independent business owner. I was booming with the sales yesterday because it was 420. We sell a lot of CBD products.
Ooh, that's something the Versace Stoner is definitely interested in.
Oh, yes. And with that, you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mike Panchu. My Amway website is in my bio. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to help you out, work with your budget, identify your needs, and develop that relationship with you to further help you with your self-care journey.
Well, there you go, fellas and ladies and everybody that's listening to this. If you want some great, products for your body, this is where to go and this is how to get it. Definitely give that a check out. That's something that's great for everybody and all included, Here at the VSW, we do love to promote the, the individual, the small business owner, the people that are out there, every day, grinding to make money for their family, for themselves, We got so many of that, and we got so much corporate greed in this world that I can't stand, that I don't mind, supporting the little man. I give it all to them if I could, over the larger corporations. That's just me and my personal opinion, how I act. Everybody's different, of course. But this is really exciting, like I said, you coming on board, starting to work with us, with your IT experience. And, as you know, I'm also a web designer, graphic designer. I think, between the both of us, I think we can definitely, launch, by end summer, I think we can launch a very decent VSW website page.
Absolutely.
And definitely, work on our social media presence. I think we do a great job, unifying it and keeping it branded across all platforms. But, it's always great when we have IT majors, coming on board to help with these things.
For sure. As far as social media goes, has the VSW thought about branching off into TikTok?
I personally do have one that is doing pretty well, under my own name, Versace Stoner. And I'm probably I haven't really brought the podcast into that yet, as I don't really know how to get, the viewers I need for TikTok. I haven't really,
Gotcha.
got to how to learn the analytics of it yet, as I've learned, as YouTube or Twitter, and how to reach my niche. But I do plan on expanding to that. Maybe that's something you can help with, or we can all work together on. Me, you, and the Wolf.
For sure. Teamwork makes the dream work.
It sure does here at the VSW.
But going back to WWE, I'm definitely a big fan. I consider myself smack dab in the middle. I'm not a super fan, but at the same time, I'm not a casual. I'm like an ideal customer for someone like Vince.
I mean,
I'll spend at least $200 a year on WWE.
I mean, you went to Mania this year. I saw you out there. We went together. I mean, yes, I ended up going with Disabled Wolf down into the, the VIP seating that we won. But you were with that other dude up there where I was supposed to stay. You went there. You had a good time. I mean, you spent money there. Like I said, that's some dedication to go to WrestleMania. You went to Florida, in a pandemic. That's some dedication. I mean, you talk about the different class of fans, and I think, it's hard now. I mean, the day of the super fan is there, but it's a lot easier to just be, I think where you're at right now, because of the way, we get our news about wrestling. Even the way we watch wrestling is different now than it was 30 years ago. The social media is, you got WWE sending off, mini GIFs and almost instantaneous, recaps of what is going on live. We don't have to be glued to our televisions 24/7 to watch all this. You don't have to live in the world of WWE to know what's going on. There is ways to do it without being glued to the television.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Back when I was working and going to school full time, sometimes I would have classes that would run from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. It was not possible for me to just tune in and watch Raw for 3 hours. On my commute home, I would just watch Raw on my phone. Like, I would catch the clips on social media. It wasn't a big deal. I was all caught up.
And I mean, I'm speaking of, the times that you were in school and all that. Didn't you go to a Mania trip then, too? Your first Mania while you were doing all that?
Oh, yes. I pulled all of that off.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Just budget-wise, and, I heard that New York, Jersey trip was pretty expensive out there compared to other Manias. And just in time-wise and getting everything racked in. I believe I read a pretty decent article about that on, was it LinkedIn, was it?
Oh, yes. I created a whole article on how to budget for WrestleMania when you're a full-time student and all that good stuff. It's on my LinkedIn. You can find it, LinkedIn at Mike Panchu.
I suggest everybody, all you fans out there that want to go to a WrestleMania, read this article. I did. It helped me get to this year's WrestleMania. And I got the money to go, but it helped me, do it without spending a fortune. And I plan on using the same strategy for Dallas and LA and wherever else WrestleMania is gonna take us.
It just goes to show, if you really want something bad, in this case, go into a Mania, you will make it happen. You just have to apply the mindset and have realistic expectations for yourself and what you set out to achieve.
Oh yeah, I mean, with a little bit of willpower, with a little bit of willpower and the right mindset, I think you can almost achieve anything. I was actually talking with this, a person the other day, and I was corrected, and I stand corrected now by this person. You can achieve anything with the right willpower and the determination. It can happen. I mean, look at us here at the VSW. We started off, I started off running a little, rinky-dink Twitter, talking about my favorite marijuana streams in WWE wrestling and, what I'm doing. And now I'm not the biggest account. I'm not the greatest account, but I've definitely come a long way. I have, great followers. I love them dearly. I love interacting with everybody. I love talking to wrestling with them. I've met great people along the way, great promotions, great promoters, great talent, great fans. It's just been a wild ride, and it all started from me just wanting to do it and having to be determined enough to do it and just putting the right mindset that I am going to do it.
Awesome.
I wish Disabled Wolf was here tonight with us. I know he had another engagement. Because I'm sure he could tell you the same thing, He was in the same boat as me, 3 years ago. So, the VSW to us means a lot, and we put our heart and soul into this. So I'm glad to have somebody else on board that is willing to sacrifice the same and knows what it means to sacrifice that for something that they want.
For sure. And definitely, if you want something really bad, you will go after it. In my case, a college degree, a promotion, getting the privilege to gain mentorship and learning how to leverage a Amway business and much, much more. Fitness, too. Setting out to do all those yoga arm balances. I had to fall many times to finally perfect it.
And sometimes you gotta fall, a lot. You gotta fall all the way down sometimes flat before you can stand up tall. And, that's just the nature of the game.
Rock bottom.
Unfortunately, yes. And we learn a lot of lessons going down. And if you remember them, the climb back up is very easy. I will give you that.
There was something I wanted to get into. We talked about it briefly earlier. It's more so the psychology behind some wrestling fans. From someone who used to play Super Smash Brothers competitively, I can see some comparisons between some wrestling fans and some gamers where they pour all of their self-worth into WWE and gaming, and that pretty much becomes their self-image. All they care about is wrestling or the video game.
This is a deadly trap. You can be in the wrestling. I look at it this way. There's many ways to be into the wrestling. You can be, the casual. You can be the person that just, enjoys watching whatever, whenever. It doesn't really matter. You can be the diehard fan that loves wrestling. They got to watch every event. They got to watch it every weekly. But then you got people that are like, they're in the world of wrestling. So now, you got someone like me. I love wrestling. I'm a diehard fan, but I'm a diehard also independent fan. So I'm like, I have a very specific purpose on the stuff that I try to do, the stuff that I promote, the stuff that I show, the stuff, it all has a purpose. The major purpose of my original page, after I decided what I wanted to do was to promote the independent scene and really showcase the talent that's out there because they don't get the exposure. That's fine. My life does revolve around wrestling most of the time. I'm always either reading news, trying to get information, trying to make things work. When I'm not doing wrestling, though, guess what else I'm doing? I'm a full-time father. That doesn't go away. I also cook. I love to cook. I'm a collector. I collect toys. I collect, other things as well. I'm a gamer. I like to play games. I have other things in my life besides wrestling, even though my life is wrestling related. Some fans, you're right, they're totally lost inside the wrestling world. They lose the reality at some point of what is, real and what is fake. I've seen people wishing death upon wrestlers because they won a match. Are you fucking kidding me? You're going to wish death? You're going to wish someone that gets fucking cancer because they win a fucking scripted match? Get fucking over yourself, people. You should be ashamed of your fucking self.
Absolutely.
That's the kind of shit that disgusts me about the wrestling business. I'm sorry to get so nasty, but it does. I just remember these people last year or 2 years ago, with Roman Reigns, the shit they were saying about him. It's like, who the fuck are you? You're fucking some little pissant from a fucking who knows where, talking through the internet, would barely step into the ring. It probably had the chance, and if so, it'd probably get broken into 1,000 pieces. And you're coming on wishing someone dead because they lost in a script. I mean, do we do that in the videos and movies? When we watch fucking whatever it is, whatever the movie might be. Let's say Godzilla and Kong. Let's just say that's a big hit right now. Everybody says Godzilla won. I think he won. Are we wishing he fucking gets cancer and dies because he won? No, it's a fucking movie. Come on, people, wake up. And I think in Smash, yes, there's a lot of similes in gaming world, too. There's people that lose that reality in gaming, too. They think they're the fucking gaming characters. They're thinking they're living Smash Bros. In their real life. They think they're their gamer tag. I mean, yes, I get it. I live my gimmick sometimes. I am the Versace stoner. I've turned myself into that gimmick. But I'm also, I also know who I am as an individual. And when I'm not on, social media and I'm not around a lot of my, I'm not doing podcasts, I'm not doing this, I'm myself. I've hung with fucking gamers. They'll tell me their gamer tag and that's all they'll tell me. They won't even tell me their real name.
Oh yes, I've very much experienced that. It's crazy with the similarities for sure.
You were a Smash gamer. You did it competitively. How was that?
It was a mixed bag. There were some people I genuinely liked in the community. I vibe with them very well. They became lifelong friends. But for other people, they just view you like a gamer tag. To them, they just view you as good practice. They don't want to get the chance to know you. They won't even say hello to you. It's really just, hey, do you want to play?
So you're basically a stepping stone for somebody else if you're no good.
Yeah.
I kind of see the similarity on wrestling. Not in the sense of the wrestlers. I think the wrestlers have respect for each other. But as fans, as Twitter fans, I can see people using other people's downfalls as their own, to rise themselves up. That happens a lot. I'm not saying the whole, IWC is fucking corrupt. Either is the gaming community. There's a lot of great stand-up dudes in the international wrestling community. Tons of people I can name off, Look at my friend Mikey Starks, fucking, total great dude. Alessino Huzier, great dude. Nikki, fucking amazing lady. I've met so many great people. But there's also those toxic individuals you got to learn how to block and get rid of. The gaming world, I'm sure, is the same. I haven't really got in there. I play games, yes. But I avoid people, let's just say. I try to play games that I don't have to play with other people. I hate playing games when I have to involve team members because I want to just go and do my own thing, or they're fucking yelling at the mic through me and to do this and that. I just like to be stoned and fucking go play. So the only competitive game that I play with other people is Dead Before Daylight, because I can just kind of kill people off and just go. I like the Friday the 13th games, but as far as other games and all these 20-player games, I can't do it. Like I said, the missions just aren't there.
Speaking of Dead Before Daylight, they should put the Fiend in that game.
Oh, they really should. That would be amazing. He would be a great character in that game. The only other game I also do enjoy that's multiplayer is probably the Star Wars Battlefront game. I'm really good at that. But for most of the time, I try to just play single-player games, or I play multiplayer by myself and not interact with anybody like in GT5. I just kind of go off and do my own damn thing.
I would say the biggest takeaway from this conversation about folks who pour all of their self-worth into wrestling and pro gaming is that you shouldn't put all of your eggs into one basket. Yeah, it's cool to get involved in this stuff, but just make sure you have other areas of your life established.
I mean, who would you say one of the most successful gamers are in the world right now?
Right now, I've been really out of the loop. I can't really think of much, to be honest.
But listen, you got someone like Dr. Disrespect, right?
Yeah.
He made good money in Twitch before they banned him or whatever they did, right?
Yeah.
He's a very professional gamer. But that's not everybody. That's not the norm. Not everybody's going to be able to go there and make money playing games, even competitively.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you really start going on a national level and you get sponsors and shit, you're not making millions of dollars. You're not quitting your day job, nor you're quitting your night job. I mean,
it's definitely this, false, expectation that
you think kids, though, now, since Twitch is so big, when I was growing up, we played Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, 4 of our buddies would sit around and play that all day. Now you got these Twitch things where you see these very successful gamers, and they're very successful. They're flaunting $1 million homes. They're doing all this shit. It's because of gaming. It's giving a lot of the youth, this kind of false sense that, I can do this too. But the reality is it's very, very, very hard.
Agreed. 1,000%.
I've been playing the whole Twitch game for maybe a year now. I think I got like 8 followers.
I wonder too. It's like with these gamers who make millions. Let's say something does go wrong, they can't game anymore. It's like they go apply for some kind of retail job or something. It's like, will the manager take them seriously because they were pushing buttons and getting crap tons of money?
Yeah, I mean, especially if they're well known, who knows, like, how does that even work? If they don't have any life skills, especially where they're so young. I could see somebody in their 30s that, maybe have worked 10 years, decide to pick up gaming more profoundly and do it better and, went pro afterwards. But some of these people are just young teens that have just graduated high school. They're not even going to college. They're fucking full-time gamers. Like you said, that's going to end someday. Or they're not going to be on top anymore. They're going to have to go out into the real world, find a real job. And you're right. What are they writing on their resume? Professional video game player. What skill set is that? What does that fall under? Where are you going to get a job doing that? I mean, unless you're at a game tester, you're not.
Sure.
You have to stay in that field.
We have a whole just mix of generations right now. The older folks, they're still in the marketplace, jobs and all that stuff. I mean, if a boomer or Gen X sees pro gamer on a resume, it just leaves a bad taste in their mouth.
See, then you got people like me that are right in the fucking middle that, like, I think it's great. Game is a real professional thing. I would hire them for, there's a million things. If they're a good gamer, that means they have great eye and ear, coordination skills. They're great for many things. That's a great talent. They also probably have great memory skills and, a lot of other skills that are really important in,
playing under
markets.
Pressure. That could be one.
That's another one. How are these people holding it? If they're easing under this pressure, that's a great skill to have. But, back to the comparison between the wrestling, world and this, and, I want to just talk about the other big thing that happened last year was the speaking out movement. We had the big one in wrestling, a lot of wrestlers being called out as scumbags, sex pests, sex offenders, rapists, whatever they are, pedophiles, so many of them. And then almost about a month later, we've seen it in the Smash community.
Oh, yes, a lot of top players got exposed for being pedophiles, which was a major shock.
That's pretty terrible, in my opinion, just because, gaming is centered around children. It's marketed, yes, so isn't wrestling, but even more so gaming is marketed towards, especially the company they chose, Nintendo. It's a very family-orientated company. It's always been that way.
Right.
Do you think it's impacted Nintendo's stance towards gaming?
Towards competitive Smash Bros, absolutely. Nintendo will still plop out downloadable content for Smash just because Smash to Nintendo is GTA to, Xbox?
Yeah, pretty much.
But as far as the competitive scene goes, Nintendo is never going to get involved with that. As it stood, they never really did. They just kind of gave the scene a shout out on Twitch, all that stuff, but they never really collaborated with the pro scene on like a very, very high level.
So it's not like, something that happens with like the Mortal Kombat scene or other fighting game scenes then.
For sure. And Smash at its core, it's a kids party game. It's not a serious fighting game like Mortal Kombat and Tekken. It was never meant to be played competitively.
So unfortunately, it's kind of a pedophile's playground.
Yep.
That's kind of a scary thought for the youth of the nation. Just saying. But like I said, the parallels were there because the wrestling world was being called out, like I said, almost a couple months before. A lot of top stars being called out for sexual misconduct, pedophilia, and all sorts of other gross and disgusting things. And, that's kind of where the parallels started, I think, in the toxicity. But, I just want to talk about also, the pettiness. The pettiness is there, too. I've been blocked, by fans for disagreeing with them. I've been, called names. I've been called horrible names. I've been threatened for saying, disagreeing with people. And guess what? The same has happened in gaming. Once in a while, I'll get a message from somebody on my gaming, telling me all sorts of weird shit or, calling me all sorts of names because I've done better than them. Well, even they've beaten me and they just want to rub it in my face and they're just saying all sorts of shit. They've obviously a young child by the shit they're saying. It doesn't bother me so much. One person bothered me. I'll say, he said some pretty mean shit not even
Yikes.
knowing me.
This annoys me too when you can whoop somebody for like 50 rounds straight, 100 rounds straight, 1,000. The one time they beat you, it's like they hit the lottery. They just brag and brag and brag about it. It's like, dude, look at how many rounds it took you to beat me just once. What are you trying to prove?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really much of a feat when you lost the first 1,000 times. That's fact. You know, I don't know. Like you said, the gaming world is very toxic if you let it be. Same thing with the wrestling world. You gotta, my takeaway from this and my, you know, what I'm going to tell everybody listening is you got to cut the negativity out. You know, if you see these negative people coming around you, you know, in your conversations, in your threads, you know, don't be afraid to use that mute button. You know, mute these people. Don't be afraid to block people that are harassing you. It's not, you know, a sign of weakness to get people out of your way. You know, this is the internet. You know, this is not real life. You're not killing people out there. You're just getting them off your feet, especially the people that are harassing you or the people that are making you feel bad. You don't need to see that. You don't know them. You don't owe them anything. A lot of people are strangers on the internet. A lot of people act like tough guys. Just, you know, you can easily just block and mute and walk away. You don't have to, you know, dance at every dance you're invited to. And you don't let yourself get stressed what internet bullies think of you, because it's nothing. It's just high school games on a grand scale.
Agreed very much. That begs the question. Imagine if this social media stuff existed back in the Hulk Hogan era and the Attitude Era.
I think if it was around during the Hulk Hogan era, I think wrestling would have been dead. K-Fob would have been dead right off the bat. Everybody would have known how wrestling worked. It would have been mainstream in the sense that everybody would have been able to watch and share clips, but also it wouldn't have been as mainstream as people wouldn't have had to go to shows. We were just talking about it. You know, the weekly shows when the Raw first started were very important. Pay-per-views weren't every month. There weren't 2 shows a week. You know, Monday Night Raw, and, you know, in a month or 3 months there'd be a pay-per-view, you know. You had 4 a year. The weekly shows drove it. I think if we had social media back then, I think people would just focus on that, and it just wouldn't happen. Not to mention the fans would have been fighting constantly. Yes, the world was a different place during the Attitude Era. Yes, the sensitivity wasn't there. But neither was the constant people, you know, complaining, bitching, downing each other. It wasn't on the social level. I don't know how people would have acted, you know, if, you know, all of that was put out there on the internet like it is today. You know, it might have got to the point that everybody would have been offended and shut it down like it is now. You know, it's very easy to offend someone on the internet. You can say the wrong thing. You know, you have to really be careful. There's a lot of sensitivity, and for good reason. You know, a lot of people in a lot of different, I don't even know how to say it, like, just between race, sex, you know, all the different demographics of people have all had to struggle so hard to even get, you know, rights and recognized. That, you know, they just, you know, it's hard. It's hard. But like I said, you know, they all had to get, you know, it's very hard for these people to get recognized. And, you know, the internet back then, you know, look at some of the promos. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of rambling here because I got like 3 different thoughts in my head. And one of those thoughts is that damn promo you showed me the other day. If you want to talk about, you know, things and sensitivity. And that was the one of Goldust and his, you know, pretending he had Tourette's.
Yes.
Okay, in the Howard Stern show. And, you know, if that was to be run today, you know, people ran that and people laughed at it, they made fun of it, and, you know, they goofed at it. And
yeah,
it somehow worked, but you couldn't do that today. You couldn't make fun of somebody with special needs or some kind of, you know, that'd be like me making fun of somebody with an autistic twitch. Like, you can't do that. And it's not even funny to joke about. Back then, some reason, society, us, as teens, people thought it was funny. We laughed. We went along with it. And this is what I'm kind of saying. Like, if social media was back then and all this was going on, because social media really didn't take off, and when that gold dust stuff was going on. It was around, but it wasn't as there was no Facebook. Okay, there was no Twitter bouncing around,
MySpace, I believe, was the hot thing.
In 03, yeah, just taking off, possibly. By 06, 07, I think it was at its height, right? Or maybe 05. But yeah, you didn't really have all that. If you had all that negativity back then, I think people would have been offended a lot sooner, is what I'm trying to say.
Agreed.
And a lot of the stuff they did back then, they couldn't do today. A lot of sensitive issues. There was, Jerry Lawler promos against Goldust, and he said horrible things. If he said those words today, you couldn't say those words without offending a whole shitload of people. And it's not fair. Like I said, a lot of people have had to fight to, break through barriers for their rights to just, live the life they want to live. Social media has kind of been the downfall of a lot of that. I mean, it's been a great voice for people too, but it's also been a platform to tear others down, and that's kind of a shame.
Couldn't have said it better.
But, here at the VSW, we don't judge people. We don't get into people's business neither. As long as they're not, out there killing people, causing mass destruction, harming children, any other horrible things that people do out there, race crimes, sex crimes. If they're genuinely good people, we just leave them alone. Like, they don't bother us. It's none of our business what they do on their free time. If they have, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever they do, I don't care. It's good for them. If they're happy, I'm happy. That's how I feel. It doesn't matter to me. As long as you're living a good life and you're not, out there, hurting people intentionally, you're fine in my book. I don't play, sides with anybody.
Well said. Very well said. My bad. I'm a little sleepy over here.
I'm going to ask you one question, just really quick, because we got just a little bit more time. So what are you looking forward? You said you're jumping from another podcast. We're very great to have you again. What are you looking forward to most joining the VSW?
I'm honestly looking forward to asking questions when you and Disable Wolf go at it with the wrestling talk. I feel like I'm getting good with asking questions on the spot with no script, getting the folks to really think. I'm excited to hear more about how wrestling fans like me can get into sports, the Boston Bruins, and all that good stuff.
Very good, and you'll learn a lot about that. Disable Wolf's gonna, really, I think, up the ante with his sports knowledge. He knows a lot. He knows a lot more than people think. He knows a lot about wrestling, don't get me wrong, but he knows his Boston sports inside out. And I think he's going to be, his show's going to take off. We're going to learn a lot from that. Definitely, we've loved having you moderate, and ask us questions.
But most of all, continuing to learn more and more about the wrestling business, because it's always changing, it's always evolving. There's always something to learn.
Definitely. The business is not the same that it was, in 1980. It's, territorial days are over. There's a lot of different things. We were kind of talking a little bit, with... I sounded the other night and how K-Fob is basically dead. Everybody knows it's a work. We just go along with it, and that's kind of fine right now. Like I was saying, in 1980s, that wouldn't have been fine. That, the bad guy wouldn't be seen with the good guy. They wouldn't even go out to dinner afterwards. If they did, they would start a fight with each other because they're not supposed to be seen together. Things like that would happen. That hasn't happened today. After the match is over, people are friends. They're friends. And that's just the way the world is right now with wrestling. It's at a very, we know what it is, stage. And we just accepted it and moved on, and we don't care. When people say it's fake, we laugh at them. We say we know. You know, and that's just the way
Definitely.
it goes. But yes, there is a great business to be learned. You know, as you learn more about, you know, the independent scene, you watch more independent wrestling with us and Disabled Wolf, and, you know, listen to some more of our podcasts about that. You'll see more of, you know, the inside kind of edition of what, you know, wrestling, how it is. You know, WWE is great. It's a grand scale, though. Some of the smaller promotions and littler things, you see the more inside knowledge. You know, you see the talent, you see how it works, you see the promos. You can appreciate it a little bit more because these people are like me or you. You know what I'm saying? They just, you know, you could be a wrestler. You have, you know, the strength, you know, you have the athleticism. You could jump in the ring and learn, and, you know, you could be a wrestler in a couple of years if you had the right training and the right, you know, discipline. And that's what the independent scene has taught me is, you know, it's not out of the reach. Yeah, you know, WWE maybe. That's like, you know, somebody going to the NFL. But there is that college level of play. There is that, you know, amateur level of play. There is that underbelly level of play that you don't have to, you know, be in. You know, you can be on television and not a movie star and still be successful. So, you know, that's why I love the independent scene. But we are great and happy to have you on board. We look forward to that. You know, I think Disabled Wolf was talking about possibly Thursday night doing a question and answering. That will be great. We can have you on board. Great. Now we are 3 deep in the VSW. That was the big news tonight. Thank you, everybody, for listening. It has been a pleasure. What are we calling you? Demon?
Yoga Demon.
Yoga Demon. The newest member. Thank you. And everybody have a great night. Versace Stoner out.